strategic move that Eddie is making for AJ? Why are you not thinking, let's get him set up for
kind of animal?
if
That was years and years and years ago. Like, Clarissa is a way different fighter from when she was back in the
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on our
defenses that she's had to have recently. You know, she's pulled people.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RoundTable about tribalism. I don't think tribalism is necessarily bad. I just don't think it has to be.
I don't know what he think he sees or what he think he know. But he going to the hospital, bro. Like, bro, you not winning that fight.
You guys mentioned, I think, Adisal, you mentioned him versus Regis Program. I'd love, that sounds like a...
I don't need you, you know, and PBC and others, in my opinion, it's like, oh, this is my guy. Like, there's a relationship.
Flat out, it's tough, and we call box, and we go to the end of the round, and then...
That would say, what do you mean by acting black? That's a fair question, but a participant of trash talk knows.
And they're announcing a fight 3-4 months from now. And he ain't going to fight. I bet you anything. He's not going to fight somebody as good as John Wayne. And thanks to those joining me live. Those who be joining me here on the archive. Hit the like button. 100 likes is the goal. And next week, check out the roundtable at Ringside Reporter. I'm being joined by Joe Habib and by Dave. This is the Triangle Table. You know, what's going on, everybody? How's it going?
I've been this happy since I was a kid.
That's right. That's right. We should be joined by Mario Munguia in a little bit, and we'll see who else shows up. But with that said, let's go ahead and get this one started. Big fight this weekend. This past weekend. Big. I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating with how many. Maybe that was too many bigs.
Yeah, you're exaggerating. You're exaggerating.
Yeah. It was big in England, right? I guess.
It was okay.
It was over there in Leeds. Taylor versus Catterall. They did their thing, and Catterall comes out on top. Bob Arum steals the show, and now they're talking about a possible trilogy. But the question is,
no.
If you're Catterall, do you want to do it again, or do you want a world title shot? Right? Like what? And obviously, money's going to play a factor. But even Taylor kind of in the post fight said, "Well, look, if he wants to go for a title first, I understand, but we could still run it back." So. It is what it is. Eddie did say, look, he should have been undisputed champion. And he felt they took it from him. And now even though he won this rematch, it's bittersweet because no title was on the line. Joe, do you want to see a trilogy fight? And what you think of Catterall's performance?
I thought Catterall looked sharp. I thought he was one step ahead. I thought he was getting off first. I think Tim Bradley made a good point. The thing with Taylor was the only way and the only times he really had success in spots was in the mid-range. But Catterall did a really good job holding his own on the mid-range when he had to fight there. But the big difference here was when there was distance, there was space between these guys. And that jab was like a guided missile all night. And I just don't think that Taylor had an answer for it. And you could also see that just the punches from Catterall were sharper, they were crisper, and Taylor just only had success in spurts, and he just doesn't have the timing that he used to have, and he just doesn't have the speed, and he's kind of lost a step a bit. If they do have a third fight, I don't see how it gets any better for him. I don't like him at 140. I think he should move up to 147, and I know people are saying it could get worse for him at 147, but a lot of the killers at 147 have moved up to 154. So I think it could be wide open for him, and I don't even see Boots staying at 147 that much longer. So I think that for the sake of his health and his body, if he's going to continue fighting on, I think he should move up. I just think he looks flat at 140. And I'm not sure if we could ever see that Josh Taylor that we saw in the Jose Ramirez fight ever again. But I would absolutely love Jack Catterall versus Teofimo Lopez. I think, Teofimo Lopez does have problems against counterpunchers, guys that don't necessarily come right to him. And Catterall is very cagey. He is very poised in there, and he is very crafty, and he's a slick counterpuncher when he wants to be. So I think that would be a beautiful type of fight in terms of entertainment value, because if you like a chess match, that will definitely be a chess match. So I think that should be the next fight.
Yeah, 100%. And I almost called you base. I was reading his comments on
show base some respect, man. You got to show base some respect.
I was reading.
Dave some respect.
So Dave,
you already
Dave,
have respect. You don't have to get it, man. It's automatic.
I would say Dave the kid, the hardcore guy. No, but Dave, what you think of Catterall's performance and the fight itself? And do you personally want to see a trilogy fight?
I'm open to a trilogy fight, but not immediately. You know what? I think that Jack Catterall's performance this Saturday was even more dominant than the first one. I saw much more things that really reminded me that Catterall is world class at 140 pounds. And Beeb just pointed it out. He should have gotten the nod and been the undisputed king of the 140-pound division, but he's not. And so now I'm wondering, how does he do against the current crop of 140-pound champions? The fight to make, though, I think for me is the same one Beeb just pointed out. I'd love to see him against Teofimo Lopez, because we saw how much he struggled against Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin's also a world-class guy, and he's going to be getting that shot against Devin Haney, hopefully. As far as Josh Taylor, it's been 3 years since he's been undisputed. That incredible performance he put in Las Vegas right after the pandemic, or as the pandemic was kind of winding down. Not too many people got to see that in person. I remember it was limited seats. We were coming out of the pandemic. That Josh Taylor's gone. And you're right, guys. He should have moved up maybe a year or two ago up to 147. What I do like is, as B pointed out, a lot of those killers that are heavy-handed aren't there at 147 anymore. And maybe Josh Taylor will reclaim some of that, what he's lost behind by moving up. And the only way to know is if he moves up. So I'm not rushing that trilogy. In fact, I'd like to see Catterall get his shot at one of the current 140-pound champions first. But the trilogy can always happen when Catterall moves up in weight as well.
So on base, thanks for coming on so impromptu.
No worries.
So, hey, can you give us like in the UK, are people clamoring for a trilogy fight from these two guys?
No, not really. I think a lot of people obviously see it as a 2-0 kind of to Jack Catterall, but because it is 1-on-1, I have seen some people say, you know what, just for clarity, like a trilogy would be worth it. Some people on the night did say, you know, this was a good fight, like, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I agree with both Dave and I think Joe said it as well, though. I don't know if I'd want to see it right now. Like, maybe let Jack get his world title shot if that's what he's after. If they can make that, obviously it's going to be pretty difficult because Devin Haney's got to face Sandor Martin. Teofimo Lopez ain't going to do work with Eddie Hearn for anything. So then, I mean, maybe you have to look at Subriel Matias after the Liam Paro fight if he comes through that. And then obviously, you know, that Isaac Cruz ain't going anywhere near the zone and PB, the zone and Matchroom. So yeah, he might be waiting a while, but I definitely think if that trilogy does happen, it needs to happen at either 147 or Garcia weight at 143, because 140 is clearly not the right place for Josh Taylor anymore. Like, it could be lifestyle. It might not just be the weight. It could literally be he is a faded husk of himself. But let's at least give him the best opportunity to have a competitive fight with Jack. But yeah, I scored it 111, 117 to Catterall. I thought it was quite clear. I only gave Josh Taylor the 3rd round, the 7th, and the 8th. I think that was it. So yeah, there was a couple, you know, it was very competitive rounds in there. There were some close rounds, but you know, Catterall just kind of did enough in most of those to sort of nick them. But yeah, it was a lot more comprehensive than the first fight was. But yeah, Catterall's lack of killer instinct, or maybe lack of being able to up the tempo, I think really cost him from being able to get a stoppage. But it was a decent fight. Wouldn't mind seeing it again.
Okay, all right. So back to you, Base. For Catterall, if we look at all these title holders right now, because it looks like Eddie wants to get him a title shot. Who does he fare better against of all the title holders at 140?
I think who would be I think the easiest stylistic opportunity for him would probably be Teofimo Lopez. Only because Teo is not good at coming forward, and Jack Carroll is also not going to come forward, so he's going to make Teo have to chase him, because Carroll's quite happy to, you know, be sort of counter punch heavy, back foot heavy, and because he's the naturally bigger guy than Teo and isn't struggling to make this weight, I don't think Teo's gonna. He might have the explosiveness, but I don't think he'll have maybe the size to walk him down in the ring as such. So I think that would be the easiest one. And yeah, I think Matthias would be the worst. And I actually think Devin would be like the second worst. And Usyk Cruz might be the second easiest, because again, he's gonna come forward. You kind of know what to expect as long as you got the good gas tank. But yeah, that's how I'd have it.
Okay. Joe, if you're Eddie Hearn and you could pick any one of the title holders for Jack Catterall to challenge, who would it be?
Teofimo Lopez.
So you're co-signing a lot of what Bay said. Do you think it's a good style for him?
Yeah.
Or a bet of all
I
of them?
I said it earlier. Teofimo Lopez has a really hard time against counter punches and guys that can fight off the back foot that don't always come up. Just like Bay said, I kind of said that earlier. So,
Dave.
Oh boy, I was at that Jermaine Ortiz fight, man. Everybody was waiting for that fight to start to get going. The crowd was not happy about that fight, and that's the blueprint is there. You know, the Sandor Martin and Jermaine Ortiz. The blueprint is there for Jack Catterall to get a defining win against Teofimo Lopez. I do like his chances also against the much smaller Pitbull Cruz. I think Devin Haney, that fight might be a bit of one of these war fests. You know, it should be a true chess match for the fans of the sweet science, and I think be potentially very dangerous fight against Subriel Matias. I think that's one where we'll see his lack of power come at play, and Subriel Matias, he's got plenty of that.
who'd you have winning that fight, Dave, against when Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz? I actually had Jermaine Ortiz eking it out.
Yeah, I had to watch that one at home because you know, when you watch it live in person, you don't have the commentary. Yeah, exactly. So at first I had Teo, but going back and watching it, I did see how Jermaine Ortiz could have been given that decision.
I had him eking it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jermaine was running around the ring the whole time. Like, I don't know how you win a fight that way, but it's just me. I actually think Teo has a very easy fight with Jack Catterall. I don't think it's a tough fight for Teo at all. Pitbull Cruz, that's the fight I would do. That's a fight that he can maybe, you know, you could frustrate Pitbull a little bit with the jab and some movement, and I think more so than a Teo. But I would say that. But Haney's also looking vulnerable right now, so that's another one you could pick at, and you could probably make a fight with that. Matias, we'll see how he looks against Paro, but I just think Matias will eventually be brought back down to earth at some point, in my opinion. I think he's looking phenomenal and destroying guys right now, which he deserves the praise he's getting, but we'll see how he looks, man. As far as a trilogy, I actually don't want to see it. I just don't think there's a need for it. The second, look, it was a good fight, but it wasn't like, I saw some people posting about it like it was this fight of the year candidate or something. I mean, it was okay. Like, it was better than the first fight, but that's not saying much. It could turn out to be boring like the first fight or an okay fight. I'm ready to move on, I think. And it's not just the two fights, all the postponements, and it wouldn't happen. And I just don't want to go through that again. I would rather see Tater fight some other guys, maybe move up to 147. And I'd like to see Catterall mix it up with the other title holders. It's just my opinion. But
Freestyle, you know what was funny about that? The first fight was actually closer than the second, even though the second fight was more entertaining. Imagine. Food for thought.
I actually liked that fight. I thought it was a very good fight on Saturday.
It was. You know, one of my takeaways was if I was Jose Ramirez right now, I'd be clamoring for a rematch, you know, to erase that loss in people's memories, the being knocked down twice. I really think Jose Ramirez right now has a very good chance of beating Josh Taylor handily. And that's one that I'd like to erase. If I was Jose Ramirez, you know, trying to lure him into your backyard of Fresno, California in front of 17,000 fans.
Why not? I actually do think the referee kind of screwed over Ramirez in that fight. Like when he grabbed his wrist and was holding it, and then Taylor clipped him with the uppercut. Like all the momentum just went Taylor's way, and Ramirez, I think, mounted a little bit of a comeback. It just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? It was a little too late, but it is what it is. So, look, there's a lot of fights. There's 5 of them. It's a big card on Saturday. Matchroom versus Queensberry. So a lot to kind of unpack there. I do want to start with Dubois versus Hrgovic, if I'm pronouncing that right. So this is 2 heavyweights. So it's there's going to be some leather flying. Dubois coming off a good victory over Miller, and Hrgovic has been in a roll himself. And here we are. Do we know if the IBF is going to be on the line yet, or is that up in the air right now? No,
it won't be on. It won't be vacated or stripped in time to be on the line for this.
I don't even think they're going to strip Usyk, man. I think they're going to honor. They're going to honor that exception.
No interim.
No interim.
Well, it will be the interim because Hrgovic has already got the interim title.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Right. People like carrying that interim belt around nowadays.
Let me see.
It has a little bit of value now.
They'll still get their 3%. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
It says the fight with Dubois. There's no interim title or anything on the line on the box rec, but I think this will be for an eliminator maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
But it's definitely not the official title to that.
No.
All right. So
the winner of that Dubois Hrgovic fight will definitely position themselves for a title shot though.
Okay. Dave, Dubois, Hrgovic. How do you see this fight?
Both of these guys are coming out vastly improved from, the losses or perceived losses. In Hrgovic's case, I didn't think he won that Zhang fight. So I think he was gifted that decision, but both of these characters have made dramatic improvement in their game. Dubois' performance against, maybe a washed up Miller, he just looks so much better than the guy that was stopped by Usyk and the guy that was stopped by what was that heavy-handed guy? I love that Joyce.
Joyce.
Yeah, but he tends to fade, and I'm really favoring Hrgovic's gas tank in this fight. I think we'll see a little bit of what Joe Joyce was able to use, that stiff jab. I think that's the recipe to beat Dubois. Dubois can be explosive up front, so I'm looking forward to that. And he did crack Usyk with a really clean, nice body shot, and I'm hoping we'll see some more of that, But I will pick Hrgovic in this fight to prevail and position himself. And on top of that, I'm not interested in seeing Dubois versus Usyk again. So I'm favoring Hrgovic.
MAW with a $5 Australian. He says, hello, boxing fans, roundtable panel and chat. Subscribe, share, and smash the like button, please, folks. Absolutely. Make sure you guys do that. Base, Dubois, Hrgovic, how to see it?
Yeah. This is actually going to be a pretty interesting match, and it's the only one on the card that actually has like legit needle in it. From obviously this sparring story from about 6 years ago now, I think. I know Dubois tried to say he was 17. Hrgovic is like, well, no, you was nearly 20 when we had this spar. So why are you lying about it? You weren't a child. You was an adult. You got beat up as an adult, not as a kid. Look, Dubois got new lease of life in him, so that will be interesting. I think the main thing to kind of take away is that Hrgovic has just got a style that Dubois isn't really ready for, I don't think. With all of the dirty, sort of the dirty fighting, maybe getting a bit of the forearms in there. Definitely the rabbit punches. Like Daniel's never had to deal with that. Everyone who's always hit him has always been like head on. So yeah, when they get up close and those punches do start landing towards the side and the back of the head and those dirty clinches and all of that, can he take that? Is going to be very interesting. If you look at their records, Dubois actually been in there with the better level of competition, but you have to also factor in they've both only actually had one world level opponent each because technically when Dubois lost to Joe Joyce, that was British level. Obviously lost to Usyk, world elite level, and then Zhang was Hrgovic's world level competition. And whether people like it or not, like Hrgovic did get the victory, even with whatever was going through at that time. Funny enough, I rescored that fight several months back, and I actually scored it, I think, one point to Hrgovic as opposed to what I'd done the first time. So yeah, it was legitimate, but Dubois has taken on a lot tougher tests, like Kevin Lerena, Joe Joyce, Alexander Usyk, Jarrell Miller. Like those four guys, Trump, Dempsey, McKean, and Zhang, 4-2. Even if maybe Zhang is better than two of the others. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be, if Daniel can keep his composure, if he can keep his head, and I guess if they let his dad be close enough to ringside like he was against the Jerome Miller fight, then he should make a good account of himself. But you can't really bet against Hrgovic. He hasn't had to show it much, but he's just the more, I guess, well schooled, well drilled, and I guess maybe just person who's willing to do more to win. So it's going to be all for Daniel to do, in my opinion. But good fight.
It's the big guys, Joe. Who do you got winning this one?
I was really looking at this and I was trying to find a way that Daniel Dubois can win this fight. And he could make it interesting, but the problem is when the going gets tough, sometimes he just breaks. We've seen him break twice in fights now. And this is a guy in Hrgovic that doesn't break. He usually does the breaking. He keeps coming forward. He's tough as nails, and he can box too. He's heavy-handed with every punch he throws, and it's not like he's really, loading up with these shots. But even when he steps in with his jab, that's a real hard, authoritative jab. And I just remember against Joe Joyce how Joe Joyce just landed that hammer jab against Dubois, and Dubois just didn't react very well to it. And I think you got a guy in Hrgovic that is going to step in hard. And he's not going to be backed up in this fight, or he's not going to want to be backed up in this fight. He's going to try to dictate the pace. He's going to try to be the general in there. He's going to be trying to be the aggressor, pushing Daniel back. And, sometimes we've seen Daniel, being pushed back in fights and not really holding his ground, being the big man that he is, but doesn't always hold his ground like that big man should. And I think because of that, Daniel could make it interesting early, but I just think Hrgovic will probably wear him down, and we may get another one of those 9th, 10th round stoppages that we got against Usyk and we got against Joe Joyce. So I do see Dubois breaking down, and I do think Hrgovic will ultimately stop him late in the fight.
Man. Look, I like Dubois. I think he's a good fighter. I do wonder if because I hear you and I think you're right. I think you're correct about when the going gets tough. However, I also seen him in situations where the going got tough and he still found a way to win. It's just, can Hrgovic take his will in this fight? Like he probably will, probably late. I see a late round stoppage. I don't know if Dubois is going to be able to, be able to handle Hrgovic. I just don't. But I am, in a way, though, hoping I'm wrong. Like, it's always those guys that people question their heart, and the guys that get questioned like that, I always root for. Like, I always found myself rooting for Victor Ortiz back in the day, right? And because we all saw the Maidana fight where the will was beaten out of him, and he just didn't want to continue anymore. Even he gave that speech saying, "I deserve better than this. I need to question. I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of my life." Blah 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 blah. And then there was the Jose Lopez fight. In fairness, that was a broken jaw, but still, he was questioned for his heart. And in the Dubois case, it's like the same. Like he did have a fucked up orbital bone, against Joyce. It just is what it is. Against Usyk, I just think he felt overwhelmed and just didn't know what to do anymore, and he was getting hit at will by Usyk. So we're gonna see what happens in this fight. I'm rooting for Dubois. I hope he pulls it off. I just don't know if he will. I'm picking Hrgovic in a fight officially, so that's one for Matchroom for me. But it should be an interesting.
I'm a big Dubois fan too. I'll actually be pulling for him, even though I don't think he'll win. But I'll be pulling for him. I like Daniel Dubois.
Like, did you feel like? Part of me was like, I really hope Miller doesn't beat. Like, I wanted him to beat Miller like so bad.
I like Dubois. He's a young kid. He's soft spoken. I actually think he does fight hard. Does the best he can. I just think everyone has a breaking point. We all do. You could throw all of us in a room and you could torture us. We'll all break at probably different times, but we're all going to break eventually. And some fighters are like that. Like again, he had retinal bleeding in that Joyce fight. I'm sure he was seeing blood spots in his eye. I have no problem with him stopping in that fight at all. The Usyk fight. Usyk can do that to people. He can just break people down. So I'm not trying to give Dubois a soft landing here, but when I think Hrgovic is at a very high level. Maybe not as high as obviously Usyk, but maybe a notch or two below. But I do think that Hrgovic is probably a notch above Joyce. So if you look at it like that, like this type of opponent in Hrgovic can, when you take the skill along with the toughness and the grit, and as Bay said, he can get grimy in there when he needs to. All that combined, I think it spells trouble for Dubois. Like we saw him get up a couple. Was it that in the Lorena fight where he got knocked down a couple times and he came back? But that's with all due respect, Lorena. Lorena doesn't have the skill set, the power. He doesn't have the toolbox to dig down deep like this guy Hrgovic does. Hrgovic is he's just a tough as nails guy. Like you'd have to nail him to the canvas to get him to stop coming.
What was the fight where he had like a messed up ankle or something like that? Was that the Lorena fight?
That was a Lorena fight, I think, where he tore his ACL.
It was his knee, yeah.
Tore his ACL in that fight.
That's a hell of a thing to come back
from. And I tore my ACL before when I was 14. That is a horrifically painful injury. So he will get credit for that. But I would say if you tear your ACL against Hrgovic, Usyk, or Joe Joyce, you're not finishing that fight, in my opinion. So.
I guess the thing is this. It's kind of like, just to go back to the Victor Ortiz example. When the going got tough against Andre Berto in their first fight, he gutted it out in that fight. Yeah. And he outwilled him in that fight. And he got back after it got dropped, he got back in the fight. But he had that moment where he knocked down Berto and it fired him up a little bit.
But here's the thing, man. Andre Berto is not this guy Hrgovic. This guy Hrgovic, man. If I ever met this guy in a dark alley, I'd be running for the hills.
Well, I guess
if I had a choice of being in a dark alley with Andre Berto or Filip Hrgovic, I'd probably take the beating from Andre Berto because this guy Hrgovic would probably maim me for life. This guy's
so that's what I was going to say though. Like I can.
Am I right, Dave? Am I right, Dave? You probably want that too, right?
Look, no? I can chuck off. I could say, you know what, the Joyce fight that was an injury, right? Okay, fine, right. The Usyk one, he felt completely overwhelmed and it was like, I don't know what to do. I think he just said, okay, I'm good. Can Hrgovic do that to him is a question, right? Can he take Dubois to that place?
I think he can.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong too. I want to be wrong here.
I want Dubois to win.
I want someone to tell me on Sunday, Beeb, you were wrong. Thank you. I was. I'm glad I was. I like Dubois.
Oh, boxing fans never let us down when we're wrong. So like they're going to tell you.
Of course they won't, man. I'm still hearing about fights that I got wrong from 2007.
Oh man, look, a fight, and I believe this was going to kick off the night. Ball versus Ford with Matchroom. Ball with Queensberry. Joe, I know your pick, but go ahead and tell everybody why you believe you're going to be correct.
This kid, Nick Ball, impressed the hell out of me against Ray Vargas. I always liked the kid, but I really, really became a fan in that fight. Raymond Ford is a great fighter, man. But again, I think you got a guy in Nick Ball who is a fire plug. Another guy that's not going to quit. But a guy who can change levels, right? He's got really quick feet. Raymond Ford loves to use that ring, likes to get space, likes to pot shot, likes to counter punch a little bit off the back foot. But again, you got a guy who's going to be coming at you, dipping and ducking and slipping and sliding and ducking and dodging, and he's going to be making himself a compact target. He's already a compact target, but when he kind of changes levels and he kind of dips down low and springs up, you have to time that level change where he's going to come out of that squat, right? You don't know what's coming. You don't know if the short hook's coming. You don't know if he's going to stay down there and throw the body shot at you. You don't know if he's going to like turn you and then throw a shot. So it's hard timing this guy coming out of a level change, and it's hard timing this guy because he's so quick on his feet, and it's hard timing this guy because he actually throws a quick foot feint in there too on several occasions when he's coming forward. So this is a guy that's going to be on Raymond Ford all night, and Raymond Ford is not going to like the pressure. I think he's going to have a hard time measuring him with the jab. And I do think Nick Ball could outspeed, outwork, and outmaneuver Raymond Ford in this fight, because I saw a guy in Ray Vargas who's a very good fighter, particularly from the outside. He's had success against several people, just keeping them at the end of his jab and boxing at a distance, and people just have a hard time getting past it. But this guy was outmaneuvering Ray Vargas. I thought he won the fight clear. It was a shame he didn't get the decision in that fight. I felt really bad for him. So I think you're going to see a dogged, determined little fire plug in there in Nick Ball, and I think he's just going to be too quick, too much, and there's going to be too much aggression, and I think he's going to outwork Raymond Ford, and I think he's going to end up getting a hard-fought decision in this fight.
And if he does win, he will become the WBA World Champion. Many feel he should already be a world champion. He should probably be a unification, right? But we'll see. A base, Nick Ball, Raymond Ford. What do you got?
Yeah, look, that's a really good fight. Unlike Beeb, though, I do actually think it was the right decision between Vargas and Ball. I scored it a draw, all because Nick Ball threw away the 8th round after doing so good in the 7th, dropping Vargas. He lost the 8th, and then ultimately that was enough to swing it back to the draw. So yeah, I had it 113, so I don't feel there's any robberies that were caused. That being said, I think Nick Ball's strength is that he's relentless. He's a bit, I guess, like Usyk Cruz, just maybe a bit more rough and rugged. So he kind of has a bit of that in him. But I think one of the major problems of Nick Ball is if you know how to keep him honest with like punch power, or if you've got enough power to basically like keep him honest and not just let him walk through you, he can be a bit limited in what he does. It is very sort of textbook, come forward, aggressive. There's no nuance. There's no setting up cute shots. Like most of the time, you're going to see his shots coming from a mile away. It's just are you quick enough to get out of the way of them? And a lot of those guys aren't, or they're similar size. Well, you got Ray Ford. Obviously, he's used to working on the inside. He's used to working on the outside. He's used to working mid range. He's got good movement. He's got good enough power that no one's just going to walk through his shots. I think the biggest issue he's going to have is making the weight. He did say before that, that last fight was going to be his last fight at 126 until obviously Eddie told him about the, Queensberry Matchroom thing. And he said, well, yeah, we'll get a belt into the unification. I'll stay here for one more fight. So he could already have one foot out the door of featherweight, which is never a good sign in these kind of events. but yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those fights. I think I know which way I'm kind of leaning, but there's so many variables. It's not a foregone conclusion either way. But I just feel like when you look at both of them, Nick Ball is just a lot more predictable, and doesn't really have a plan A, plan B, plan C. Everything is just plan A, and it's plan A or bust. Whereas I feel like Ford can maybe, he can adjust things if he needs to. But it's about whether or not he's able to have a lead in the fight before he has to make that adjustment. Because remember, the Komatov fight, he was down on scorecards and had to pull it out of the bag in the last 10 seconds. You don't get that kind of opportunity with Nick Ball. So yeah, it's going to be very intriguing. It's one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most, and it's one of the fights I called on the card long before they even agreed weight classes. So I'm still pretty proud about that. But yeah, great fight. Looking forward to it.
All right, what's going on, Bruce Goss?
What's up, man? How's everybody doing this evening? Salute.
We're good. Thanks for joining us.
Happy Memorial.
BG, what is it, BG? How you been?
How's it going, man? We're talking this 5-on-5 Matchroom versus Queensberry. This card's taking us back. We're getting a full loaded card. You know what I mean? So Nick Ball, Raymond Ford. Who takes this one, Bruce?
Man, I love what Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing to boxing right now, man. I mean, it's like one weekend after another. It's better than it was in the 80s. It's better than it was in the 70s. And this is from somebody who was there and full blown addicted back then. This is consistently improved. This is great stuff. Raymond Ford and Nick Ball, great undercard fight, man. Raymond Ford, he seemed to come out of nowhere last time we saw him. Like my man Bass said up there, he was down in the cards and 10 seconds to go and a dramatic knockout, man. Mind blowing. Nick Ball, who looked a little pit bull, looks like he wants to wrestle more than he does box. I mean, the styles mesh. I haven't seen enough of either one of these guys to really know how this fight's gonna end. But for an undercard fight, a WBA featherweight championship bout, man, it ain't getting much sweeter than this, bro.
All right. And really quick, Bruce, what do you think Dubois, Hrgovic? Who do you think's going to win that fight?
Oh, man. I mean, you're talking about a couple of top 10 heavyweights right now going at it. We haven't seen shit like this since Don King was blowing the wad back in the 80s, man. This fight could go either way because neither one of these guys are proven commodities. If anybody, Danny Dubois has been to the ringer a little bit more, but he's come up short. He never grabbed the brass ring. And Hrgovic, this is a great fight. Hrgovic's the stand-up. He was supposed to be the heir to the Klitschko's. He hasn't really fulfilled his potential. Some people say Zhang beat him when they fought. Great undercard once again. I'm going to go with Hrgovic because the size advantage. I think he's on more of a forward momentum. I think Daniel Dubois is kind of peaked out, and I think he's more of a gatekeeper status. So we'll see if this gate will keep Hrgovic from fulfilling his potential.
For sure. And Dave from the 702. Las Vegas, stand up. You know what I mean? Hey, are you going to be like Beeb and pick against the American on Memorial Day, or are you going to pick Raymond Ford to take the win over Nick Ball?
Okay, I'm actually rooting for Nick Ball, but I think Raymond Ford is going to pull away victorious. And the reason why I'm rooting for Nick Ball is how much fun would it be to see him fight El Venado Lopez, Luis Alberto Lopez? How much fun stylistically would that fight make? With the history that El Venado Lopez has as a road dog, as a road warrior, going on the road and defeating everyone in the UK or Ireland, that's a fight I really want to see. But Raymond Ford put on a quintessential Hollywood performance in dramatic fashion. The way he won that WBA featherweight champion, that made me an instant fan of Raymond Ford. When everything was on the line, he wanted it more. He pulled off the unthinkable. in winning that title the way he did. Both of these fighters have game-changing power in their hands. This is a fight where I could see them exchanging knockdowns, and that would make it really interesting. But I think ultimately Raymond Ford has more skills, and I see Nick Ball being more one-dimensional, and it's a great one dimension. It makes for a very exciting fighter. But I think Raymond Ford, the way he won that fight, he just proved he's got that championship IQ as well. I think he pulls off a victory here in a very, very fun fight.
All right. Okay. Now, let's talk about Ammo Williams versus Hamzah Sheeraz. Am I Sheeraz? How do you pronounce that?
No, Sheeraz. That's right. Hamzah Sheeraz.
You had it.
All right. So,
Alhamdulillah.
all right. So, this is an interesting one. If I'm not mistaken, Sheeraz is the team captain for Queensberry. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
Okay,
that is correct.
So for those that don't know, and those that are wondering what does that even mean, that's double the points, right, for the team. So if he wins, it's double the points. If he gets a knockout, that he gets, instead of 2 points, it's 4 points, or however the points are going to happen. Let's start with you again, Joe. Can Ammo Williams spoil the party here? Because a win here, in my opinion, would secure an easy routing for Matchroom. Or are you expecting Sheeraz, like most are, to win this one?
I like Sheeraz big in this fight. I think he will stop Ammo Williams. I think he's the bigger guy. He's the taller, longer guy, the much heavier hitter in this fight. And this is a guy who's very well-rounded. He's got a hammer of a right hand, and he's got a good left hook as well. Ammo Williams, I think, doesn't have the firepower to deal with Sheeraz here. Ammo Williams is very quick. He's very athletic. He's very dynamic. He can be explosive at times. But I just think that he's going to have to take a lot of chances to get close to, Sheeraz. And I think Sheeraz will be able to line him up with the jab, catch him coming forward, measure him, kind of post him with that lead hand, and then just be like, hold him in his place there, and boom, comes the right hand. And it's almost like Tommy Hearns, when Tommy Hearns used to do that. Remember in the Duran fight, he just was like this with Duran, almost like a man with the boy. He had that lead hand, opened it up, and was like this. And Duran just like couldn't go anywhere. And then he's like, boom, with the right hand, and Duran's like, and then I think that's going to be like this, man. That's going to be one of these situations.
Whoa, like just like that, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be one of these. I wanted to add a little bit of theatrics to it to kind of spice up the breakdown, but I really believe this is going to happen. This isn't really performative at all. I do think this is going to happen.
And it is that's double. That would be huge for Queensberry, for whoever's keeping score out there.
That'll be the instant 4 points for Frank's team.
Whoa!
And Eddie's team will be behind the 8 ball after that one.
Man. All right, Base. How do you see it?
This is another really, really good fight. It was one of those ones when I was first kind of thinking about it, I had it like one way. And then more recently, I've kind of been thinking a bit more, and I don't think it's as clear cut as what I was initially estimating in my mind. Look, Hamzah Sheeraz, I think it's fair to say over the last year has improved immensely. Like his skill level has upped. Like his punch placement, output, the punch selection has majorly improved as well. So he's really on sort of a forward momentum. The only issue I kind of have with that is we haven't seen him in there against any decent level opposition that weren't washed, unfortunately. Like, we can't judge the Liam Williams fight because he's been punchy for about the last 4 or 5 fights. He regularly, hits the canvas in the first or second round. Hamzah did well to obviously keep him down in this instance compared to the others. But the only other, the other good fight he had was I can't remember the guy's name, Mistrovanov, I think, the Ukrainian. Obviously, very decorated amateur, but he's 5'8", to Hamzah's 6'3", whereas Ammo is closer to 6 foot. He's in his prime. He's 28, whereas the other guy was 34. Towards the back end of his career. I think Ammo is a bit more I think he's a bit more fluid than what Hamzah is. He's a bit more unpredictable. He's a bit more sort of loose with his movement. Whereas Hamzah, you can kind of predict what he's gonna do. He's very he keeps it textbook in a really good way. But yeah, I feel like Ammo just has different layers that Hamzah hasn't seen. And if we're gonna look at it, Ammo's been actually matched a lot tougher in his career from earlier than Hamzah has. So Hamzah was very much protected by Queensberry earlier on. Frank said, look, he's one of the stars. We're gonna build him up properly. Now, yeah, he's in here now, and this is his opportunity to show whether that building has worked flawlessly or not. But I just feel like Ammo's had to figure out a lot more things in the ring a lot more often than Hamzah has. So that's what kind of makes it a lot more intriguing for me. I'm not sure 100% how I see it going, but I do think that it's going to be surprising to a lot of people. That's kind of the way I see it. And there's definitely going to be knockdowns. I'm not sure if there's going to be a knockout. There very well could be, but there's definitely going to be a knockdowns, and I think it could be on both sides. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one as well.
And look, in my opinion, if Ammo Williams makes it to the distance, that does help his team, right? That's just the way it is because of the whole points thing. So that's a win for Matchroom, in my opinion, if it goes the distance. So we'll see. Bruce, Gus, Austin Williams, a.k.a. Ammo Williams, or Sheeraz? Who do you got in this fight?
I like Sheeraz in this fight, but looking at this fight right now, the middleweight division is wide open territory. Once again, on the undercard, you got 2 top 10 fighters in the division. I don't know if there's any title involved or not, but it's surely going to lead to a championship fight, especially like I said, the sparsity of talent at 160 right now. I haven't seen enough of these guys to really form a solid opinion, but just watching the last fights, I've seen Sheeraz as the come ahead power puncher, the aggressor, and Austin Williams. I don't know if he's ready for that. Like my man Bass up there said again, man, the Thomas Hearns right hand. That's devastating. I don't know if he has that, but just a great undercard fight, man. The action just keeps getting better and better. And like I said, I'm going to go with Sheeraz if I have to pick a winner in this fight.
All right, Dave, what do you got in this fight, brother? Are you going with Ammo Williams or the favorite Sheeraz here? Team captain.
I'm going with the favorite Sheeraz, man. This guy's got an unbelievable skill set. You guys mentioned about his punch selection. He's got like the nastiest lead uppercut. He can really hurt you with a different variety of ways. Unfortunately, Ammo Williams, I think this is going to be the toughest fight of his career. And this is the kind of fight that's going to announce Sheeraz on the international stage as a world level championship fighter. This is a guy I want to see with Carlos Adames. I want to see him against top ranked middleweight champion. And the sky's the limit with this kid. He's just gifted physically. This is a kid that, I'm waiting for him to move up to super middleweight, but he's got all these tremendous fight opportunities while he can still make. But as a super middleweight, I can envision him winning a world title. I could even see him ending his career at light heavyweight with the gifts, the 6'3", the long reach, the long jab, the variety of punches. It's going to be a really tough night for Ammo Williams. Sheeraz is going to announce himself on the world stage.
Does he get the knockout?
He could, but Ammo Williams is a tough guy. He proves to be tough, man. It's not going to be easy to take Ammo Williams out. He could very well drop him once, maybe even twice, but Ammo Williams is a durable fighter with a lot of heart.
I'm going with Sheeraz in this fight, and I think he wins by stoppage in the fight. I think it's going to be a big win for Queensberry. But if Ammo can make it to a distance, or better yet, if he pulls the upset, Queensberry's in trouble. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So we're going to keep him moving here. Look, Craig Richard versus Willy Hutchinson. This is light heavyweight. contest. Another interesting matchup. Base, how do you see this one going?
To me, I think this is the most predictable fight out of the five, to be honest. No disrespect to Willie Hutchinson, obviously, yeah, very decorated amateur for Scotland. Their most decorated amateur ever. All of that is really good and really cool. But yeah, I mean, look, he's a good boxer, but there's nothing that he does like exceptionally well, and he's still sort of. I'm not saying he's not like a point scorer, but everything he does is still very much like amateur code textbook. Maybe with a little bit of aggression when he sees people hurt. He's very much like a pure boxer in that sense. And obviously, we've seen that he can be stopped, he can be hurt, he can be knocked out. Now, with Craig Richards, he's obviously had the harder road, I guess, as a pro, generally speaking. All of his losses have come at upper British, European / world level contention. He's cleaned up domestically on the numerous occasions, and he's got more of a front foot, aggressive style now, whereas before he used to be a bit more laid back, sort of waiting for those opportunities to come forward. Now he tries to create them. Also, while obviously he never plans to get hit, like he backs his chin against anyone in the light heavyweight division, and I know personally that he's actually been hit flush on the chin by Daniel Dubois before in sparring and didn't wobble, let alone anything else. So Willie Hutchinson, I don't think has the power to hurt him. So because he doesn't have the power to hurt him, I feel like at some point he may get a bit lost in maybe the game plan, and rather than trying to sort of box on the outside, he might aim to try and impress, so to speak, and end up getting himself caught and getting into the type of fight he doesn't really want to have. Because him going toe to toe with Craig Richards isn't a smart idea. It's better for him to try and box and move. But I know that he's going to try and show that he's got power, and he wants to try and be the first person to KO Craig Richards, which I don't see happening. And I think that all of that is going to mean he's going to sit in the pocket more than he should. He's going to end up being at the end of that very hard ramrod jab that Craig has. Sort of those twisting right hands. If he gets caught in the ropes at any point, he could end up hitting the deck just like Boris Crichton did. And Craig will be working his body to slow down the legs and to slow the movement. So yeah, this to me is the one fight I can't see any way that there's anything other than the Craig Richards victory, and I do think it's a stoppage. Anything other than that, I'll be totally shocked, to be totally honest.
All right. Okay. Joe, Craig Richards against Willie Hutchinson. Who do you got in this fight?
It's funny Base says that, because I actually agree with him 100%. I don't think it'll be a stoppage. It could be, but I think it'll go the distance. But the ironic thing is, odds-wise, this is the tightest fight on the card. This is like virtually a pick-em on the card.
Yeah.
With the odds. And Craig Richards definitely is the more skilled of the two. And the two losses, like Base said, that he had were against top level. And in each of those fights, I had him losing narrowly 115 and 113. So I had him winning 5 rounds against Boaty and 5 rounds against Bivol. I think the problem here, as Base said, is the jab. The jab is not only like a telephone pole hard jab, but it's a very quick jab. It's a jab that's hard to time, right? Hutchinson's going to be the guy coming forward. He's going to be aggressive. But I just think that Craig Richards is just so swift and so slick on his feet. And I think he's just going to step around Hutchinson all night. And Hutchinson's going to try to come forward. And he's going to be looking for a target that's just not going to be there. He's going to come forward and thinking that he's going to be able to pin Richardson down. And Richardson just won't be there when he tries to get his offense going and throws those shots up close, because he's going to want to get inside. He's kind of a grinder, when he wants to be. But I just think that I just don't think he's going to be able to Greg Richards down. And I think once Greg Richards gets into a rhythm, I think he'll be comfortable just pot shot from the outside, turning, sticking, moving, turn, stick, move, turn, wash, rinse, repeat. And I think he'll coast to a pretty clear, unanimous decision in this fight, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So are you in line, Dave? Do you think this is because the odd makers are not agreeing with Base or Beeb. I looked them up right now. They're very tight. But Richards against Hutchinson, how do you see this one?
I see experience coming into play, man. Craig Richards has the type of confidence you get from going the distance with Dimitri Bivol and actually winning rounds. That says a lot about what he's bringing to the table. Not only that, but that fight he had with Joshua Buatsi. Buatsi, I think, is someone who is world class at light heavyweight. When you are in the ring with someone that you know you're a class above, then you got to get to work. You can't let them stay in the ring. I don't see why they have it this close. I think that experience is invaluable, just like guys who give Canelo a good fight. You know, the way Craig Richards gave Dimitri Bivol a good fight. He's world class. He may be the guy who's always comes up short. He may never win a title at light heavyweight, but when there are people that he's outclassing, he should get a defining win. He should actually, I think he could stop him.
Okay. All right. So, Bruce, how do you see this one, brother? Hutchinson against, Richards.
I see Richards just the much more experienced fighter. He's been in the big fights. He's come up short, but it's been questionable. He's won rounds with Bivol and Buatsi, and I think he's going to be too much for Hutchinson right now. I just think far too skilled. I think it's going to be an easy lopsided decision, and a great high level British quality middleweight light heavyweight fight here, man. And, like I said, I think Craig Richards is going to once again. He's a great gatekeeper for the division, and I think he's going to keep it shut over here.
All right. I'm going to roll with Richards. I wasn't that confident about it, but I'm pretty confident about it now. After Base and Beef talked about it. All right, it's that easy. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's get to the fight I want to get to here. I'm pretty certain this is going to be the main event of the evening. And I think it's going to be a short night. I'm just going to tell you guys what I think is going to happen before I pass to the panel. I know people are counting out Deontay Wilder, and I get it. Logically speaking, it makes all the sense in the world, right? He got beat down by Fury. Parker took him to school. So everything's looking that I get it. Like, trust me. And I'll fully admit that this is all intuition. But also not just intuition. I do think Zhang, he's just always in that center line, right? And I think that right bomb is going to land, and I think he's going to knock Zhang out in under 3 rounds. My official pick is round 2. I think Bomb Squad is going to be back. Now, if he doesn't do that, it's going to be a long night. He's going to get destroyed. Okay, I was going to say that, but I'm officially going with Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. I think he gets the knockout, and after this happens, please, if he knocks Zhang out, can we just get AJ versus Wilder already? Just give us that fight. I will. That's a huge fight. That's probably the biggest fight outside of Fury Joshua you could do right now at the heavyweight division. I think it would be a huge event. At this, I think Wilder should go to England, quite frankly, at this point. But that's just me. I'm going with Deontay, Bronze Bomber, Wilder. How's it going, Shadow Ghost?
Hey man, thank you, bro. But yo, my bad, bro. It's so unprofessional of me, bro. Like, I forgot today. Listen, Memorial Day is bad for me, so I totally forgot it was even Monday, bro. That's crazy. Memorial Day is on Monday.
It happens.
My bad, bro.
It's all good.
Yeah, anytime for the future, bro. You know that. Just hit me up, and if I could join you, bro, I'll always support you, bro.
It's all good. Hey, so talk to us. What do you think?
Zhang, we're talking Zhang and
Wilder,
Parker?
Zhang, Wilder versus Zhang, Bomb Squad versus Big Bang. What you got?
I'm going for Big Bang, man. He trains out of. I was raised in Patterson, bro. So he trains out in Patterson, man. So I'm going for him. Patterson, New Jersey. But I will say this though. I've been thinking all week, bro. I feel like Zhang's defense, like. I think Wilder can actually knock him out, bro. Like I'm the same way. Like I feel like it could be a short night. But the thing is with Deontay, I think that he could actually land it later on in the fight too. I mean, he's got power later on in the fight. It's just, the only thing I have a question mark over Wilder, and the reason why I have a question mark over him is not necessarily his heart. I actually think he's got a lot of heart. And his third fight with Fury showed me like I have more respect for him in the third fight than I did with everything else. It's not that. It's Malik Scott. Like you see Wilder training and doing all this stuff with Malik Scott, and it looks good, and it looks like he's incorporating all this stuff. And then until he gets in the ring and he's just doing the right hand again. So I'm going with Zhang, but I do think this fight ends in a knockout. I do think it ends in a knockout. But another thing too, I'm gonna say this: if it's under 5, it's Wilder. But he could also win after 5. You want to know why? Because look how gassed Zhang got against Parker, bro. He got gassed bad. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know, bro, but I'm going for Zhang. It's a very high good possibility Wilder's going to knock him out, but I say he's going to end in a knockout though.
Look, he was getting gas in that first fight with Joyce before Joyce's eye went out. I'm just saying.
Well, he was really gassed in but so which one do you think he was? I think he was really gassed. Listen, he dropped Parker how many times? How many times did he drop him? 2 times, 3, 2.
Was it 2?
Okay, yeah, 2 times. They were pretty good knockdowns too. He didn't even have the stamina to finish this dude, and then he just looked completely. One of the things, not to get off topic, but on Top Rank, I forgot who he was fighting. It was Joyce. It was Joe Joyce. That's when I found out he trains out in Patterson, right? And I saw the Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I think it is the one that Top Rank has. And in there, I learned that Zhang got a lot of health issues, bro. He's got high blood pressure. He's got all these things.
You're picking him to win?
Well. The thing is, like he explains that, like, bro, like because of his health issues, right? He's got to eat properly and everything like that. But the thing is, like he says that if he has, like, there's a possibility that if he's not feeling well that night, and I'm like, damn. I mean, like high blood pressure, all this other stuff, Damn. I don't know. All I know is that he gets gassed easily. And I don't know with a big man like that. I don't even know if conditioning, like, do y'all think you can even work on conditioning when you're a big man like that? Like a Riddick Bowe or Zhang. Like, can you? I don't know.
I think it's too heavy in my opinion, but we'll see,
heavy,
man. Yeah. Bruce, talk to us. What like Bomb Squad or Big Bang? Who you got?
This could be the fight of the century, bro. This has the potential to be the George Foreman Ron Lyle fight of 1976, man. I can see both of these guys hitting the ground, but I think the end is going to happen when Zhilei Zhang is just going to be pounding on Wilder, and they're going to just have to stop the fight. Nobody's going to throw the towel in. And the referee's going to have to put an end to it. But I think this fight could be dynamic. I mean, both of these guys, they're at the end of their career. This is make it or break it. I mean, maybe not, but in my mind, this is make it or break it. And I just think the sheer size of Zhilei Zhang, I mean, he's going to have at least 60, 70 pounds on Wilder. And I just think that's going to be too much for Wilder. Those skinny legs, having that weight on him, and catching those big punches. But that right hand, man, you can't underestimate that. And see, I didn't use the F word, but that right hand of Deontay Wilder, that's got the power. The one hitter quitter could happen anytime. But I can see Zhang shaking that off and getting back up and ending this fight. I don't think it's going to go beyond 5 rounds, but it's going to be exciting as hell.
All right, and I really hope Zhilei Zhang doesn't start saying we're gonna bang each other again. I don't know. But anyway, hey Dave, Bomb Squad or Big Bang? What you got?
Yeah, the key in this fight is punch resistance. Deontay Wilder's got very little left of that. Both of these guys, what, 38 and 41 years old. This is, like you guys mentioned, type of George Foreman type fight. Fighters, heavyweight fighters, still carry power at the very end of their career. So obviously, Deontay Wilder is still very dangerous. But what about Zhang's left hand? It's lethal too, man. When he fires it straight, that's plenty of power right there to hurt Deontay Wilder. You know, I favor Zhang early on in the first 4 rounds, but his problem, we've all seen, is that he fades in the mid rounds, and that's where I think Deontay Wilder needs to take advantage and be ready to explode in the mid rounds. I can see Deontay Wilder dropping him in the mid rounds, but I can also see Zhang surviving and pulling off a very strong finish. So I think I'm going to go with Zhang on this one, the big bang. And I would love to see them exchange knockdowns. I think this is definitely going to be an exciting fight, a classic throwback heavyweight fight.
Okay, man. Joe B, what type of fight are you anticipating here, and who do you think wins?
Been having a hard time with this one. I've been going back and forth with this one in my head. This is another razor close one in the odds. I think Zhilei Zhang's a minus 166. Deontay Wilder's a plus 136. So this is virtually a pick 'em with the odds makers. This is a style that kind of suits Deontay Wilder better than a Joseph Parker would, because Zhang is not a volume guy. He's not a fast-paced guy. He's not quick on his feet. He's a tall guy, doesn't move his head very much. He mostly fights out of that high guard and parries shots. And I can envision, Deontay Wilder throwing a right-hand missile and breaking that guard and getting through. But there's just one thing that Deontay Wilder has said that really troubles me here. He goes, I've gotten my killer instinct back for this fight. And one thing I've learned over the years is I remember growing up being a kid and I was a hellion. And the older I got, the calmer I got. And right now, I'm as laid back as ever. I don't think I can ever be that monster that I was 10 years ago. So once that killer instinct is gone, I don't think it comes back. I really don't. I don't think it's something you can flip on and off, right? So that's the problem I have here. I mean, this is a guy, like I said, Zhang, tall guy, not a mobile guy, not an exceptionally quick guy, but he's got very quick hands. This reminds me somewhat, not exactly, but somewhat of that Luis Ortiz fight where Deontay Wilder was just being countered all night and he was losing round after round after round, right? But Zhang hits much harder than Luis Ortiz. He's a lot sturdier than Luis Ortiz. He's a lot bigger than Luis Ortiz. And that that left hand, that straight left is a guided missile, right? And he throws it so straight. Whereas Deontay Wilder can throw that right hand straight, but very often he opens up wide with it, right? When he gets a little over anxious, he likes to open up and throw that thing wide over the top. And Zhang, when he throws that left hand, like his punch placement is impeccable. Like even those short, crisp shots that he was landing against Joyce, they landed so perfectly and so flush, where Deontay Wilder just doesn't have that accuracy anymore. And it's even worse as he's gotten older. And I also heard someone told me that someone out in Saudi told me that Zhang is actually going to come in a little lighter for this fight, closer to probably 275, which is the weight that he's probably most effective at, right? He's been as low as 256.
I've seen his pictures.
Yeah.
So I've seen his pictures. He's a lot lighter. I've got pictures. I've got pictures from his promo shoot. He's very light.
Yeah, I heard that as well. So he was as light as 256 against Jerry Forrest, which is way too light. But I think the sweet spot for him is 275, and that's what I think he's going to come in at. I think that'll help improve his stamina, and I think he'll be sharper for this fight than he was against Joseph Parker. And because of that, I'm going to have to go with Zhilei Zhang. 8th round stoppage here. I think Deontay Wilder will try to make a run for it, try to give it a go. but I just think that left hand will time Deontay Wilder and it will get him out of here. And Deontay Wilder's already saying, if I lose this fight, I'm retiring. I'm sorry, this guy's got one foot out the door. And Malik Scott, no disrespect, I just don't like him as a trainer. I watch him holding the pads for Deontay Wilder, and every time Deontay Wilder throws the right hand and he hits the pad, the performative theatrics of him turning his whole body like this, like Deontay Wilder just like hit him with Mjolnir from Thor's hammer, like, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, bro. Let's just be real.
People are tweeting, "Oh, he's hurting Malik's hands."
Yeah, it's just like they're trying too hard to make these training sessions look great. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I want to believe, though. You know what I mean? Like that's all I'm saying.
I mean,
but
it's not like Wilder's throwing the right hand with the Infinity Gauntlet on it. Come on.
Hey, Base. Bomb Squad or Big Bang? What you got?
Look, I mean, here's the thing. If we go back to the very first Luis Ortiz fight, which was the first step up that Deontay Wilder had, I think most people will say, what shot did he get caught with by Luis Ortiz that, majorly rocked him and buzzed him? It was the right hook. It was the check right hook, the initial time. And, what did Joe Joyce get taken out by? That check right hook. Throwing the left as a decoy to shoot off of it with the right hook. One thing about Zhang is he's not like the quickest foot-wise, but he can get into range. He can throw combinations, and his hands are very fast. His hands, to me, are similar level to like Andy Ruiz in terms of speed of hand, but they're just a lot more effective. The placement is a lot more acute. Yes, the gas tank is a major issue, but Deontay Wilder doesn't have the best gas tank either. And the one thing about Deontay is he's a very reactionary type fighter. Unless he's got space and distance, he's gonna throw shots almost like just get away from me type shots. When he's moving around and trying to throw those shots, either back foot or front foot, he's going to be tiring himself out. He's going to be, because he's reacting to everything. Okay, I've got to keep moving. I've got to keep working. And if you've got someone like Zhang in front of him, just basically, that high guard, maybe a little bit of head movement, but primarily he's just waiting for you to throw so that he can counter. His defense is actually very, very good. Like he doesn't, when you look at him after fights, he's barely got any marks on his face because he very rarely gets hit clean by anything, just because his defense is actually a lot more astute and a lot more compact and tight than people actually realize. So yes, while that straight right could potentially break that guard, I just feel like there's more opportunities for Zhang to counter, and ultimately he's gonna want Wilder throwing shots because he's going to want something to counter off of. He's actually going to be less willing to want to be the one to throw the shot first. He's almost going to want to wait for Deontay. So I don't think that's actually going to be an issue for him, worrying about how the right hand's going to land. But yeah, if Wilder can get through sort of the first 5 rounds and then just try to work Zhang in the sort of round 6, 7 and 8 and sort of 9, then he potentially, if he's still got the energy left at that point, then he's got a really good chance of coming through this fight. But if he thinks he's gonna be able to take him out earlier, have an early night, that's where the issue's gonna go, because we've seen Zhang's got a crazy chin, and unfortunately some people think that Wilder's got a good chin. No, he's got heart, but his chin is awful. All it takes is one. If Joe Parker got knocked down by an almost innocuous looking left hand from Zhang, he didn't even put anything on it, didn't talk it, nothing. It just came from the shoulder straight to the face and put Parker down. Like, that's the same kind of shot that will, would destroy Wilder. So he's got to be on his P's and Q's. I think he's going to move a lot in the first half of this fight. And I don't actually think Zhang's going to do much apart from just kind of just stalk him and make him burn unnecessary energy. So, yeah, I haven't quite given a full decision on who I think is going to win, but I feel like I know roughly how it's going to go. But I'll give my final pick on Friday.
All right. And in fairness to what you said, we actually had Roberto Diaz on, who was the matchmaker for Golden Boy. When Deontay Wilder was fighting under the Golden Boy banner, he did say they noticed very early that he had a sus chin and had to match him accordingly. So it is what it is. One more topic for you guys. Tyson Fury has activated the rematch clause, assuming the fight goes through. Not necessarily who you think will win, but do you think Fury has a legitimate shot at winning the rematch? And do you want to see that rematch, Bruce?
Absolutely. It was a if it was a heavyweight championship of the world, and it was a majority decision. Was it majority undisputed? Was it a majority decision?
Split
Decision. That's what I was looking for. So there definitely should be a rematch. I want to see it. Then the heavyweight division is hot as firecrackers right now, especially with all the stuff going on in Saudi. I mean, I don't think they should wait around, get it done immediately. If Tyson Fury pulls any of his usual bullshit, then say forget it, get back in the line again. Get it done in October, and I think Usyk's going to beat him this time a little bit easier. But it was the first fight was a great fight, and I think Usyk finally figured him out. And I don't think Fury liked that. After he got that smack in the nose, it was a whole different ball game, and he realized that this was a middleweight that was hurting him. And I think this time the rematch, I think he's going to hurt him even more, maybe even stop him. But yeah, I definitely want to see it, because I could be wrong, man. The first 6 rounds, I thought Tyson Fury was playing with him. I thought he was going to knock him out even, but then all of a sudden, bango! I was shocked.
Base, assuming the rematch goes through, does Fury put up a better fight? Does he win? Is it a worse fight for him, or how do you think it goes?
No, I think it's worse, because obviously now Usyk's got the measure of him. He knows what he is. He knows how he needs to get into range. I feel like there's very little that Fury can really do to adjust that. Realistically, after 6 rounds, I had it 3-3. I know some people had it 4-2. Crazy people had it 5-1. I don't know what they were watching, but Usyk was in control of the first part. Fury had a rally, and then Usyk took back over. Fury doesn't have the energy to ultimately hang with Usyk, and I think Usyk will probably step on the gas quicker now, because he knows what Fury can and can't do. He knows what hurts and what doesn't. To be honest, the only chance I think that Fury's got in this, because to me he's got 2 options. Number one is to go for broke in those first 6 rounds and just accept the fact that if I've got no energy left by the 6th round, the knockouts come in, I'm just going to have to take my beating, and I'm just going to have to hit the canvas and stay there eventually, or until the referee stops it. Or he's going to box very conservatively, just so he goes points and doesn't obviously suffer the same fate that he suffered in that 9th round, because I think that's something he's not willing to go through again. He's never really had that before. That's a new experience. His best chance is to just go for broke first 6 rounds, step forward, just try to open up, try to see if he can just throw punches in bunches and just like empty the tank early and hope that's enough. He can't rely on the leaning, because Usyk already showed that he's got the stance, he's got the skills to get out of those clinches, to break those clinches, and to push Fury back in those clinches as well, which is something he's not used to. So yeah, I think it goes worse for Fury. Like I said, it's either you get knocked out or you get comprehensively beaten to the point you can't argue that you've won. So that would be the game plan for me if he does go through with it. Just literally just accept your fate. This is 6 rounds or nothing. It's 6 rounds and I take you out, or I get taken out, and it's that simple.
All right. Okay. Shadow Ghost. He has activated the rematch. Do you think it'll be better for Fury or worse?
I actually said that I honestly I think Fury's gonna knock him out. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I think he's gonna get the knockout. Both men are able to hurt each other. Obviously Usyk literally had that man knocked out on his feet. But we saw that Fury was able to hurt him too. And I think the uppercut, I think he caught him twice in that round and rocked him or whatever. But the reason why I said that I think that Fury would probably get the knockout, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, is because when I look at these fighters, to me, Usyk reminds me of like a large Lomachenko. Like he only fights one way. I've never seen him really fight any. Even when he fought Joshua, when he fought he fights the same way. You know what I mean? Whereas Fury, he could do the slick fighting style. I don't know if you want to call it like the Ali or whatever, but it's slicker style. Like when he fought Klitschko and Wilder won and stuff like that. And he could also gain weight and do the hold on you, lean on you. I think that's going to also depend a lot about. I think that's going to be most important. I want to know which Fury is going to come in. Is he going to go, okay, let me try to come in the best shape as I can and try to outbox this guy again? Or is he going to say, you know what, let me try to gain some weight and just put my weight on him and just tire him out or whatever. But I know that Usyk only fights one way. So I feel like the advantage here goes to Fury because Usyk, even though he hurt him, Usyk don't know which Fury he's getting. He doesn't know which one he's getting. So, and I think that's the advantage when you have a fighter that can fight, one or two different styles. Now the styles isn't really that drastic, but he's a slower, more powerful Fury than the slicker. I would rather see, me personally, I would want to see him do what I wanted him to do in the first fight, and that's to come in a little bit heavier. And try to lean on him, and do like what he did to maybe, a lot of people disagree with that, but look what the other one got him. I don't think you're not going to outbox Usyk. I don't think you're going to outbox him. And I think one of the reasons why is because, as you see with Fury, he got tired. And now, and when I was watching the fight, I was like, this is not going to last because he's going to get tired. And Usyk has no problem coming on later on in the fight. He's got no problem doing that. But in this fight, he actually started off early. But like I said, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that Fury is going to win the rematch. And I feel like he's going to make some adjustments. I could tell you this. I bet you I know which Usyk I'm going to see.
I mean, Fury tried to lean on him numerous times. It didn't work. He doesn't have the right base to be able to do that to Usyk. Usyk knows how to distribute his weight a lot better than Fury does. We saw it in several rounds.
We'll see. We'll see. I still think that he tried to. I still think he tried to outbox him, and I feel
he was fighting from the outside more in this fight than he did. This was like the strategy that he used against Wilder the first fight.
You think that's what it? Well, yeah, that's what I mean. The first fight.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I'm actually agreeing with you, Shadow Ghost.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was trying to look. The only thing is, he was doing well until he got tired and got caught. And I forgot who said earlier that he got caught in the nose, and that was bothering him. And I did see that, but I noticed it was when he got tired is when he got caught in round 9, and I just don't know if coming in slimmer would help him. I don't know, but I'm just telling you what I think. I got him in the rematch.
Okay, Dave. He's activated the rematch clause. If it happens, better performance by Fury or worse?
Man, has Fury ever fought the perfect fight? Of course he has, when he beat Klitschko for the lineal championship. But can this Tyson Fury of today still do the same? Can he do that? Can he expand on what was working for him? I think there is absolute room for him to expand on all the things we saw, the mobility. I like him at this weight. He was getting really cocky in there. He was showboating a bit. I like that theatrics that was coming from him, but he got overconfident, and he also has stamina issues. What I favor is that Usyk is even better in rematches. We saw that against Anthony Joshua. I think Usyk has downloaded all the information to beat him any which way Tyson Fury comes in. That being said, I still want to see Tyson Fury get a second shot at it, because I think we haven't seen the best of Tyson Fury recently, and I think that he has the potential to bring that back and fight the perfect fight plan and be in tip-top shape and do better than he did in this one. This one was razor close, and I think that there is absolutely need for a rematch here.
Before I go to Joe, really quick, I actually told Joe this on the phone, I think yesterday. Like, the boxing fan in me, first, I would favor Usyk in the rematch, right? That's what my brain is telling me. But I'm not like super confident. But the boxing fan in me would actually like a scenario where Fury wins. and we force it, and we have a historic trilogy in our hands, if that were to happen, right? That's me being a greedy boxing fan that wants to see this historic trilogy happen, right? But anyway, Joe, better for Fury, worse performance for Fury in the rematch.
Usyk will definitely be favored in this fight. He deserves that right to be favored. I just think when these guys fight, it's always going to be a tough fight. It's never going to be an easy fight for either guy. I think that I hate playing the game of woulda, coulda, shoulda. But if that ninth round, if he doesn't get knocked down at ninth round, I have the fight a draw. So I just thought the fight was close. I thought it was very, very close fight. And I can find a scenario where that punch doesn't land on Fury and he's able to have more success in the second fight. Now, the punch did land, credit to Usyk. I do think that the punch in the eighth round got Fury's attention and it buzzed him a little bit. And, the nose was bleeding and you saw him parring at it. So definitely it did have some type of an effect on him. But obviously what really had an effect was that punch in the ninth round. Here's the thing, right? Fury's a very smart fighter. He's got very smart people around him. And they know how to game plan. And I mentioned one thing, and I'm going to add something else to a strategy that can be employed here. And we talked about it earlier when Foreman, Ali, Lennox Lewis used to do this a lot, particularly against short guys who changed levels and bobbed and weaved and made themselves a compact target coming forward. There's a tactic that I've seen Fury use before. He didn't really use it a lot in this fight, but he could use it in the second fight. So, Fury, I think after 7, I had him up 5-2. I thought it was coasted, right? Some people did give Fury round 2. I gave it to Usyk. I really do think 2 was a close round. 2 of the judges gave it to Fury. So again, you could have this fight after 6, 5-1. After 7, you could have it 6-1. You really can, in my opinion. Yeah, but Base is right too. You could have it 3-3 because, again, I thought 2, 3, and 12 were swing rounds. I really did. Base thinks only 3 and 12. Respect. That's why we all score the fights, and not everyone's scorecards are the same. But I do think that when Usyk did step back, remember we talked about this Fury with him in a good body shot, and he'd step back, and Usyk would take that deep breath and come right back in. And I said in my original breakdown, when you fight the ambush guy, the guy's going to come forward, take the step back, you run him into your counter shot. Then when he goes back out to reset, you follow him. I think what Fury needed to do is hit Usyk on the way out when he was stepping out to reset. All he had to do, Fury, was take that half step forward because he got such long arms and just touch him on the way out, right? Just keep touching him on the way out, break up that rhythm, and kind of delay that reset, right? That's one thing. And I think that can be implemented in the rematch. Number 2, we talked about, and I talked about this with Sheeraz, posting, right, with the lead hand. You just remember when Foreman fought Frazier, and Frazier would always go like this, and Foreman would extend that lead hand, and he would open it up and just put it on the top of Frazier's head, and he would just hold him in place, right? So he couldn't move that head, and so he could keep him. And then when he would like release that hand, and then like let Frazier come up, and as Frazier came up, then he would hit him, right? I could see Foreman kind of doing that with Usyk a little bit, posting him a little bit, because Usyk likes to get low change levels, and just pin him down with that lead hand and post him with that lead hand, right? And when Usyk tries to come back up, after dipping down, Fury can let him up, and then he can line him up with the right hand. So I could see him doing that, right? And I disagree with Base slightly. I don't think Fury really was physical in this fight. I don't. I think this was the Deontay Wilder 1 game plan. I thought he just was comfortable fighting him on the outside, and he was beating him from the outside. But the thing is, sometimes, and again, we can play the game woulda, coulda, shoulda, but what we have to deal with is the what is. I do think Fury got a little too complacent and comfortable in there. Not because he was underestimating Usyk, but I think subconsciously when you think you're in a groove and what you're doing is working, I just think he was coasting, and I just did not think that. I thought that Fury believed Usyk was wearing down, just like most of us did. I had people texting me after the 6th round, this fight is over. Usyk's not going to finish this fight. And in the back of Fury's mind, maybe he was thinking that, right? Mm-hmm. And because he had that in the back of his mind, maybe he kind of coasted just a little bit, right? Now, Fury does showboat in every fight. I mean, that's just who he is. But I think now Fury's going to realize, you know what? This guy is not really going to go anywhere. I'm going to have to fight him every single round. There's no coasting in the rematch, right? There's no letting up in the rematch. There's no giving this guy breathing room to reset anymore. And surprisingly enough, people were saying Fury was tired. And again, Usyk was landing that straight left to the body, and it could have slowed him down a bit. I'm not going to discount or say that's not the case. But if you looked at the end of the fight, Fury actually threw more punches than Usyk in this fight. Threw it a ton of jabs in this fight. Let me just finish this point. He also won the 12th round on all 3 judges' scorecards, and on my card as well. So again, if that 9th, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, I know, but I do feel I can envision a scenario in a rematch where that 9th round doesn't happen. So if I take that 9th round out of there, and Fury doesn't need that 10th and half of the 11th round to recover, he could win that. He could put on a round performance like he did in 12 earlier, right? Because all Fury has to do is win one more round on that card, and he wins. But because he did get hit with that punch in the 9th round, it took him a round and a half to recover. Now, if he doesn't have to recover, again, woulda, coulda, shoulda. It still doesn't take away what the what is. But I can see a scenario where that 9th round doesn't occur, and Fury can have success absent that 9th round. Bruce, go ahead. Do you have questions?
I was going to say, what do you think about everybody screaming at Fury in his corner? You had John Fury, you had Sugar Hill. His head down.
I don't like that, but I will say this. I do think Fury was mostly listening to Sugar Hill anyways, and I think Sugar Hill did give him good advice. That's not optimum conditions in my opinion.
You think that'll make a difference? You think it'll make a difference if he cleans his corner up a little bit for the rematch?
I don't think it would hurt. I think it could help. I think it could help. But again, the game plan has to be intact. So again, even though I got fired from the Fury Maniacs, I'm still gonna be honest about my prediction. I do think Fury can win the rematch, and I'm gonna pick him in the rematch by decision. With the proper adjustments made.
Go, Shadow.
Yeah, I just wanted to add. Look, I think Habib said perception. I think the way that we look at it. I think he was saying, Base gave him when he was talking about the swing round stuff like that. A lot of it is perception, especially, I think, and this is just me personally. I feel like it's impossible for a person to not be biased. I think we could have healthy biasness. I've always said that there's certain fighters that, I like, and certain fighters I don't like. And if there's a swing round, who am I going to give it to? The fighter I like. You know what I mean? I'm just but there's a difference between being flat out denial bias, but then healthy bias. I think that when we look at a fight, and it's a close fight, I think it was a close fight. I've heard people tell me, "Oh, it wasn't close. It was so it wasn't. It it was not as close in my opinion. It was not as so decisive. It was. The right man won. If you ask me who won, I'm gonna say Usyk won. But I'm not gonna sit here and go, man, Usyk blew him. No, because he minus that round, which was a devastating round. He was. I mean, I look at it like this. When I look at the rematch, I have to ask myself. Fury has never lost before. Usyk has never lost before. I do know that Fury, I think what makes a difference, and I just have to say that I think what makes a difference is what I saw in that first fight. I saw him having success on the outside. And especially with those uppercuts and that jab. And but like I said, once he got caught, it changed the dynamic of the fight. But I think that if anybody can make adjustments, it's going to be Fury. Whereas I feel like in Usyk's mind, he doesn't have to really make that many adjustments because in his mind, he won. I'm just saying give or take here. And if I was just, I'm going to give Fury the benefit of the doubt because when I look at it, he's the taller fighter, he's the longer fighter, but a lot of things do benefit Usyk as far as like being a smaller heavyweight, but like I said, if I had to, I just wanted to just reinforce like why I feel the way that I do, because I think that how you view that first fight is very important,
Think about it, Shadow. Again, we're going to keep being redundant here and going back to the woulda, coulda, shoulda. If that 9th round does not occur, the fight it's not hard to envision the fight being entirely different. He only has to win one more of the rounds and he wins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He wins one more round, he wins the fight on everyone's on all 3 judges' like on 2 of the judges' cards.
Joe, if we're gonna do just for play devil's advocate, angel, or whatever we're gonna say, if we're gonna do the shoulda, woulda, couldas, well, 9th round statistically, Usyk outlanded Tyson Fury in all punch stats. So realistically, we could all then say, well, the 7th round should have been Alexander Usyk's. I scored the round to Fury. Even though Usyk did outland him in that fight, in that round, and actually hurt him quite a few times. It was, that was a very competitive round. But when we're looking at punch stats and when we're looking at how the round actually went, sometimes you look at the biases or whatever. But again, if we shoulda, woulda, coulda, and 9th round doesn't happen, but the 7th round goes the other way. The 3rd round on everyone's scorecard.
Yeah, but all 3 judges gave him the 7th base. With all the respect, all 3 judges gave him round 7. Most people did.
Who? Fury.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Round 7. All 3 judges gave round 7. So
but all 3 judges gave Usyk round 9. So I'm saying if we're doing shoulda, woulda, couldas, then realistically we could say, okay, well that one switches around and then it's back to the same scorecard as it would have been before.
That's not going to switch base because all 3 judges had it for him, and most people had. Everyone I talked to gave round 7 to Fury. Let me just ask you one thing. Because the woulda,
I had a question for base too. I just had one question.
The woulda, coulda, shouldas, they have nothing to do with this fight because this fight is done. This is the what is. He lost. There's no turning that back. The woulda, coulda, shouldas, when you're looking forward, you have to ask yourself, we're looking at a scenario where that 9th round doesn't happen, which it could very well be that 9th round doesn't happen in a rematch, right?
Yeah, and it could also be in a round where Fury has got it on all the cards. It could actually go the other way. So that's another shoulda, woulda, coulda. Either way, we end up in the same spot.
Did you not say before that punch landed, you thought Fury was winning that 9th round? Did you not?
I did say that.
So that's again, that's what I'm saying. Now your woulda, coulda, shouldas are I'm not discounting your woulda, coulda, shouldas either. I'm not saying you're wrong with your woulda, coulda, shouldas, but I'm just saying when you're breaking down a fight for future, I'm a gambler based. I don't do these prediction leagues. This is my supplemental income to some degree, right? So this is why the woulda, coulda, shouldas mean something to me for future fights because I'm looking at scenarios and I honestly can see. Let me ask you a question: is it realistic to even think there is a scenario where in the rematch that 9th round doesn't happen? Is that?
I'd like to hear Shadow's question. He's got a question. I'll come back to yours.
Right. No base. So my thing is this. I want to say something off what Dave Shoeshine. I think it's Dave Shoeshine Boxing. He made a good point, man, and I get it, bro. I get it. When you look at the fight, smart person would be like, Usyk got his, Usyk is gonna do that again. And Usyk is great at rematches. He is. And but can Fury be perfect for those rounds? I think the way that he said that it made me think, and this goes back to the woulda, coulda, shoulda with the 9th round. But my question to you is this, and I think it's important because I think the way you answer this question will actually help me understand why you view it like this. I don't care. I'm not talking about minus the 9th round. I'm talking about the whole fight. Do you think it was a close fight or do you think it was a decisive win by Usyk?
I thought it was decisive. I had it 111, 116 to Usyk.
So
I understand why you view
I understand. And no disrespect to Base, but essentially he gave all 3 swing rounds to Usyk, which is his right to do.
That's what Habib.
Which is his right to do.
But this is what I'm saying, though. I understand. I don't have a problem with that because when it comes down to close rounds, like there's fighters that I favor, And I've always said it, bro. Like, listen, when it comes down, if I like that fighter or if I'm a fan of that fighter, and it's I'm not saying he is, I don't even know if he is or not, but if it's a swing round, you damn right I'm giving it to the guy that I support.
Yeah.
You damn right.
Yeah. Now, Shadow, when I was watching this fight and I was scoring it and I gave Usyk the first round and I saw round 2 and I'm like, wow, this is real close. My finger on my scoring app was edging towards Fury, but you know what I said to myself? Nah, I'm gonna get. I thought round 2 was the closest round of the fight. I'm just being honest. That's just my opinion. You can disagree or agree. I was edging my finger on my scoring app to Fury. You know what I said? No, I'm giving the first round to Usyk. I have to fight. I have to fight my bias towards Fury, and that's why I gave that second. That's why I gave that second round to Usyk. 2 of the judges gave it to Fury.
And what's funny, man, is when he caught Usyk with that uppercut when I was watching the fight, and I saw Usyk get hurt that round. The first thing that came to my mind is Usyk's gonna catch this dude, bro. Because I could just see people getting comfortable, like, oh, Fury's winning this, and I'm like, nah, man, like you cannot. There's not.
You see, I had the opposite. I thought the fight was over after round 6.
Really? You serious?
Yeah,
you're not joking. You're being dead serious.
100%.
Oh, bro,
Shadow,
no, beat that. When I saw it, beast out. When I saw it,
no, but it's not just me. The odds.
This is what I'm saying, dude.
Fury went up to like a minus
it.
1,000. The live odds were a minus 1,000 after round 6.
When he caught him at round 6, I said that the first thing that came to my mind is everyone's getting like I know there's people like
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Like Usyk was asking for the cross to kiss it, and like he needed God's help. Is how he felt. Like
I had people who bet on Usyk texting me after round 6. This fight is over.
I know.
My brother was at a dog track where they have gambling, right? And my brother bet 300 on Usyk, and another kid bet 1,200 on Usyk. And my brother told the kid to bet on Usyk. And that kid looked over to my brother and said, "You're a fucking asshole. Nice pick, dickhead." Because he thought the fight was over. He thought the fight was over.
I know a lot of people thought that. I did
not.
He said,
nice pick.
I did
he
not
said,
think
thanks,
that way.
Dick. He said, nice pick.
You should get a live betting app, and you could have bet 10-1 odds in that fight after 6 rounds.
So we have to be honest here. I mean, for all the people that are going back and saying it wasn't a close fight. I mean, and that's their right to do so. I never scorecard shame. But here's the thing: the odds went to a minus 1,000 after round 6.
There was a clear winner, in my opinion. So
clear winner. I scored with Usyk by a point.
What I will say, Base, you did say in your breakdown last week that in those middle rounds you started to ask yourself. Or you said, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said something like, maybe Fury is who he said he was, or something like that. Do you remember saying that?
No, yeah, to a degree. I said Fury, maybe he's not the whatever. Yeah, I remember saying something similar to that.
So were you? How did you feel about the fight after round 6?
I just thought, okay, this fight is now interesting, because remember, after round 6 I had it 3 apiece, so I'm like, oh, okay, but Fury is starting to take over. This could be interesting. Like maybe maybe Fury is here. And round 7 was a very close round. I was on my live stream debating which way I was gonna take it, but I goes, oh, I think I'm just about edge it to Fury. But like I said, all the punch stats actually went the opposite direction. That was a round where, if I was doing the bias thing, I could have quite easily gave it to Usyk, because I know Ring IQ did. So
yeah, but no one gave round. I can't really find many people who gave round 7 to Usyk, base with respect. I can't.
Well, Hatman gave it to him. Ring IQ gave it to him. Boxing Beats and Rhymes gave it to him. So
did anyone on this panel give Usyk round 7?
So I didn't, but I do acknowledge it was close. I think
that was one of the swing rounds I had, round 7.
Okay, fair
swing
enough.
round.
Fair enough.
One thing I do want to say that I hope Fury doesn't do, and I don't know if it's even possible, but I'm not trying to see the whole hands behind the back cocky shit, bro. Like stop that shit, bro.
May not do that in the rematch. I don't think that.
I hope
he needs to be Wilder part 2. There was no showboating in that fight. That's why, because the thing is, the showboating, funny enough, was the reason he was, I think, getting some of those rounds scored towards him, because it just looked like he was in control when he wasn't actually. He was getting hit and showboating, as opposed to you know, in other fights where he's hitting people, then showboating it. He just did everything in a backwards manner.
In my opinion, that's showboating, and you know, with everybody is different. But in my opinion, I feel like sometimes fighters, and this is just my opinion, I feel like sometimes fighters aren't showboating because they think they're winning. I think sometimes it's like almost like a I don't know how.
Trying to mask their duress.
Right. You know, okay, for instance, I don't know, you guys understand. You know, when a fighter gets hit and he gets hurt and he shake, nah, and he smiles, but you motherfucker, you really hurt. I feel like Fury does that. And I don't know if he's like, that's like kind of like self-confidence. But I don't want to see that. And I feel like he does need the attitude of a Wilder too. Exactly. That's the only way I think he's going to win.
Well, I think this is my opinion. When Fury does it, he's trying to convey control of the fight. So it could come off as ring generalship. So like basically saying people could give him the rounds because of that.
That's a good point by Base. It's a good point by Base.
But I do think when you know, the fact that Usyk wasn't playing with him, like it was like, no, I'm not gonna play this game with you, or you lay against the ropes and let me hit you. Like, no, I'm gonna put you against the ropes myself, motherfucker. Like, I'll see you later. Like, and I think. But I think I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I just know it was his attempt to be the puppet master in the fight, and it didn't work, quite frankly. So it is what it is.
Lost the fight. He lost the fight, man.
Yeah, I definitely say he lost the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see him dedicate and sustain an attack to the body in the rematch. I think he didn't get going there as much as I'd like to see. And Dubois had a lot of success. I think that's going to be key in the rematch. He's got to dedicate some time in the early rounds to a sustained body attack that could, you know, really put the legs out on Usyk in the later rounds and make him less dangerous to make those adjustments that Usyk makes.
But you know what? He threw a lot of body shots in, not as many as Usyk did, but it showed that, you know, a lot of people think that Usyk's got this glass body. He ate the majority of those shots quite well and kept walking forward. His body's not as weak as people think.
He debunked that, Base. He did.
Usyk was real apprehensive for the first 6 rounds, man. You know, he didn't want to engage. Tyson Fury could clown around. It looked like Usyk. It looked like he was pretty much playing with Usyk. But you know, Usyk was reserved. No, I'm just saying the way I saw the fight, bro. No, and then excuse me, because you know, if I stop, my mind will go fucking. I'm sorry. It might have already. But what I was trying to say is, as Usyk got more accustomed to Fury's style, then he said, I can take this shit. This guy's got nothing on me. And when he busted his nose with that left hand, man, I saw it all downhill. And I saw Fury he realized that he's getting banged around by this little guy that he's been busting his balls and saying that this is a middleweight, this is a light heavyweight. I'm going to destroy him. And he's taken my best, and now he's starting to destroy me. And I think that's going to carry over to the rematch. I don't think Tyson Fury is going to survive the rematch like you guys do.
But I think Tyson Fury thought that Usyk was more hurt than he really was, and that's why he somewhat got complacent in there. I think that's my opinion.
I think Usyk, just real quick, I think Usyk, by the way, and I'm gonna say this, probably Base would agree with this. To me, what makes Usyk so dangerous, bro, is he's dangerous later on in the fight, you know, and that to me is because when you got a fighter that comes on later on, that usually comes on later on in the fight, and he could choose to come on early if he wants, but to me, he's always dangerous. Like you can't be, so Fury can be up like, I don't know, 5 rounds, whatever. That doesn't mean nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing to me. Because I've seen Usyk, even in the second rematch with Joshua was having success to the body. It wasn't hurting him like how Dubois hit him. But I was just watching it the other day. Joshua had a different game plan. And to me, he came in the best that he could. He did the best that he could. And it still wasn't enough. And even later on in the fight, Usyk was still coming on.
You know what it's like? It's kind of like, because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. And every time we play the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, we're always beating their ass in the first half.
Right.
But I always know, like, well, second half, Patrick Mahomes, like he's a second half fighter.
Usyk is dangerous, bro. I'm telling you, and I feel like I'm almost like with Dave Shoeshine Boxing. He needs to have a perfect fight. And is it possible? Yes, because if I look at it, I hate to play the woulda, coulda, shoulda. But the fact of the matter is, if you take that 9th round out, Fury could have. And this is why I don't want to see no showboating.
I'm gonna retitle the show. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
But I just feel like
title of the show is "What if the 9th round didn't happen?"
But
That's
look,
the title
even if he's up, though, it doesn't matter in my book because I feel like, bro, I don't care as long as that fight is going. Usyk is dangerous, bro.
It sounds like it's like when a guy gets caught cheating, he's like, "Honey, I wish I didn't do it, man. If I had it all over again, I wouldn't have done that.
If I hadn't had that extra drink, you know what I mean? If I had
honey, I mean,
oh man, yeah. Anyways, guys, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'll be having Russ Hamner on. Should be an interesting conversation from Team Usyk. So it is what it is. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Shout out to Bruce, Base, Shadow Ghost, Dave, and Joe. We're out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.